Hello and welcome to Horrifically Well Read, Bled, and Said. It is my pleasure to introduce one of my favorite Instagrammers, Dre Reed Spooky. Welcome, Dre.
Thank you. Thank you. First, thank you so much for asking and for having me. I'm a Bookstagram baby. Like I'm not even like a full year into doing this. So
Yeah,
it's
but
been
like
very fun.
very needed that you're in this space
Mhm.
because immediately, like, I saw you one time and I was like, he needs to be on the show. Like
Yeah.
instantly. It was like the vibes were immaculate and the takeaway for it. So it doesn't matter when you start. We're just glad you're here.
We're
Exactly.
babies
We
too.
are babies too, to be genuinely
We
honest. Like,
started in like July of last year, so.
well, you did.
Mhm.
And I didn't start anything until I didn't really do shit a long time. And then we did our podcast was like July.
Okay.
It started August. Yeah, it started August 14th.
We started planning it in July. So yeah, well,
Mhm.
all babies are welcome, all levels of whatever. But you
Love
know
it.
what? Each voice brings its own special and unique thing. And so I just want to immediately call out we're recording right after goodness gracious, Halloween.
Thanks, Aline.
Yeah. a-
Hollow giving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
hard to do. I like Hello
I was
Giving.
like, oh, look, there's Dre. He's riding a witch. And then I was like, oh, that's a person and they're alive.
So my husband and
For
I
now, at
this
least.
year we went as a witch and her broomstick. So my husband
I
is a high school teacher, so he has a lot on his plate. Shout out to all the teachers out there. So now when it comes to like costuming, it's pretty much just like, well, what are you gonna do, Andre? And then I'll be something like super easy that can go along with that for
I
pictures.
love it.
And that's what we did this year. And a
Shout
friend of
out to
ours has
hubby.
like
What
an
a good
aerial
sport.
rig fly system in her apartment, so we like we set it up, and it's one
Please
for the
go and
books.
check it out, listeners. You will not be disappointed.
No.
Like
Yeah.
the systems
The
and
joy on your face.
yes.
I love Halloween, and like I felt like being a witch this year because I've actually feel like I've read so many books that just like happen to be like very witchy. So it just felt
Cool.
like, yeah, I'm gonna go with that vibe.
Yes. Yes. I feel like I've had really good reading months, but I got into this vibe for October and I was like, I'm just reading about fucking powerful women right
Mhm.
now. And
Yeah.
like some of them are witches, some of them are not. And I just loved it. And so like, I mean, first of all, I like my first go-to thought for every costume is always a witch. But this year I was Buffy, which is not a bad thing to be killing
Not at all.
vampires. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm
Adam,
really
were you
happy
a
about
what
that.
were you, Adam? Were
I
you a
was
vamp?
the vampire that got killed.
That
Sure.
gets his arm cut off, you know, he
We
rides
were,
on top of the van.
Yeah, we were Buffy the movie version.
Yeah.
And I was
Nice.
Paul Rubens Pee Wee's character from the
Mhm.
movies.
Yeah, it was so
I had
fun.
my arm.
We did that.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, so yeah.
If you know, you know, and we know.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about your experience and your background with horror. Like, when did it start? Sometimes I'm like, I really like that Hansel and Gretel years ago. Like,
Sure.
it can start as young as that age. So,
No,
where
it's
did
true.
it
Like,
start for you, and how did you journey into becoming a baby bookstagram?
so I always have liked really scary things. For some reason, it's always just been sort of like innate. I think as a kid, I enjoyed being scared. That was like sort of fun for me. And my uncle used to, when I would go spend like the weekends with him, he would always go to the video store and rent a scary movie, like a B-side scary movie, like a really like
Mm.
I saw all the Leprechaun movies with him. Like, just really just out there one. So like I've always equated like horror with a really fun like event. Like yeah, it's always been fun for me. And then I was a product of the Goosebumps generation. So those were major, major, major influences for me. I was all in, obsessed. I still watch The Haunted Mask every Halloween
Yes.
to kick it off. Or shout out to Carly Beth, all the Carly Beth lovers out there. But that's really where it was always, I've always loved scary things. And then
Yeah.
I stopped reading actually for a really long time once I started like moving forward in my general career. Like I'm an actor, so everything just became about doing that, building myself as a performer and going to school and all of that. And book reading just sort of like got put to the
Took a
back.
back seat. Took a
Yeah. And
pause.
then
Wait, took a beat.
during what's that?
Took a beat.
Yeah, it took a beat for actually a little too long now that I like go back and think about it. But during the pandemic, I picked up The Institute by Stephen King and was like, oh, I've got some time and I've never read a Stephen King book before and I'll just crack this open. And then I was like, oh, that's right. I do really enjoy this. And it's been a while since I had read like a book period, let alone like an adult horror book.
Mhm.
And then I gave myself a task to like read all of his works. That's sort of how I started like reading again. And then I got through a pretty good amount of them. And then I started like checking out other authors and contemporary ones or just trying to get my feet wet again. I had a taste for
Yeah.
it. Right.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just interesting that like I was already interested in speaking with you and then your September recap, like you had read some books by like Don Campbell
Yes.
that I was like, okay, I really love him too. And but I feel like almost everything you rate, I'm like, yep, I feel the same way. I agree with this. So I mean, I
That's
really
it, like,
enjoy your takeaways from it. So
thank
I'm
you.
excited to catch your October one because I wrap up.
Oh, you just watched it? Yes, I October was a fun one. It was like I found myself reading like a bunch of like haunted sort of things, like Play
Uh-huh.
Nice is in there and A Head Full of Ghosts, like houses and haunted things. And
Mm.
I feel like sometimes too, like that'll happen where like I won't even think about it and it'll just be like I'm reading a lot of thematically the same sort of like thing.
And then you're feeling really good.
And then I feel really good. Yeah, that's when I feel like this is what I should be doing. I should be sitting down and reading. The cosmos are trying to
Yeah, I'm
get me.
taking that like we had talked with Mother Heart and it was like she was like, don't try to just stay like in the same genre or the subgenre, like stay in the same like vibe as much as you can. And I thought I would get like exhausted from it or like
Mhm.
annoyed. And I was like, am I really gonna read and actually like as my first litmus test, I was like, this was amazing. Like I don't think I've ever had a more cocooned, lovely reading thing. And I never felt like that drudgery of, am I gonna like this next book? You
Yeah,
know, so it was awesome.
yeah.
So, did you feel that way too, reading so many of that same kind? Like you were just in it?
Yeah, well, it's like I'm always surprised by my expectation of something versus like what actually comes out in the end.
Yeah.
So, like for instance, like I had started reading Play Nice and then finished it and then started A Head Full of Ghosts, which are essentially like about like hauntings that are happening in and around a family and how they're sort of dealing with the things that are going on in the space. And I was like, oh, this, beginning to read one, it's like, oh, this is gonna be the same thing. And then having it actually play out and following it through, I'm like, oh, it's actually not what I expected it to be. Sometimes that can be an exciting thing. Sometimes that's like I sort of like sometimes can set myself up to feel a certain type of way about something. And then when it doesn't go my way, I'm sort of like, "Oh, is that a fault of the author? Or is that a fault of the reader? Like, did I misinterpret the experience or, what is it about this thing that didn't really connect or
Right.
to me in that sort of way?
That's such a fair point though, because depending upon when you're reading something, I'm gonna like completely reference Taylor Swift right now because she was saying
Mhm.
like how people were kind of like, shitting on her recent record and
Yeah.
whatever. And she was like, whatever, as long as you're talking about me and saying my name, like things are good. But she was also like, sometimes my music isn't gonna resonate in the same way at a different time. And I was like thinking about what she said, and I was like, I always thought that song of Bad Blood was really good. Like always enjoyed it, but
Uh-huh.
then after having an experience with somebody that hurt my heart, and I was like, "Man, this shit really hits," right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's sort of the same thing with the books of like, maybe I'm not mature enough to read it yet. Maybe I just wasn't at this part of maybe I didn't have something that like, whether it's grief heart or whatever it is, like,
Yeah.
and I hate that. I hate when somebody loves something so much and God, I'm like so psyched to read it and then it just doesn't hit for me. But
I
I'm not
know.
going to trash what someone else, but I'm just like, I don't feel like their book was bad. I feel like as a shame-based person, I'm like, what did I do wrong to miss
Sure.
this?
Well, eh, I'm also an artist as well, right? So like I can understand, I know what it's like to work on something, prepare something, present it to the world, and have people have their feelings about it, right? Like reacting to your art in any type of way, whether that's, in a positive way or a negative way, just based off of like their experiences. So when I'm transferring that now into reading and talking about how I feel about books, it's like I'm always thinking to myself, is what I'm thinking, is this opinion like worth sharing in a way that's like kind and helpful and that could let other people really
Right.
know this
Right.
experience is good or bad for them? But at the end of the day, I also want to express my opinion because
Yes.
especially with books, there are some things that are for me and some things that are not for me. So it's also I think important for people to feel that they also didn't connect to something because there's also a connection there, right? So this author
Yeah.
might just be able to tell stories in a way that I can really get into.
Yeah. I feel like if I look at my 2024 Goodreads, I was a really, really fucking hard grader on
Yeah.
like you could have a phenomenal book and I would give it like a 4. Like I only gave a 5. Like I try to give out such few fives and either I've gotten better at picking what books are better for me and whatever, but
Yeah.
everything is like 4s and 5s now. And
Yeah.
I think either I'm just like I'm either more appreciative of the art, I'm reading what's better for me. I don't know exactly, but it's like when I get a 3, I'm like, whoa, what happened?
Because would you
I feel like
still
if someone would look at me, they'd be like, God, she just gives out 4s and 5s to everyone. I'm like,
or
well, I'm over 200 some books this year. I'm really already like dialing into and I'm like, I know what I like. And I
yeah,
think and I'm appreciating things at a level that, um, I don't think I could before. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I think I felt like because last year I read 175 or 100, whatever.
That's
And that was
fantastic,
a
by the
lot. It
way.
is insane.
That's
It's
all
a lot. So you add the 175 onto like whatever, like 220 or something right now. And now you have an even bigger perspective and I went into much deeper subgenres of dystopian and
Mhm.
grief and so many other things. And I'm like, this is magnificent, right? And I love appreciating each, like if we're gonna say this in terms of like artistry, like the
Mhm.
cubism and the blue period, and you know what I mean? And just like
Yeah.
it is all of that. And I love looking at the mastery of how each person presents and does things. And it's gonna be fucking hell to try to get down to the last like I think I'm gonna do a top 10% versus a top 10 because
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
For sure. Like, I feel like I 100% agree about that because, like, for me, it's like, what about an author is gonna like sticks out and resonates for me. Like, I love Grady Hendrix because he's so funny. Like, I know he's gonna be able to like deliver a lot of that creep factor, but he's gonna really make me laugh. Eric LaRocca is gonna make me like
Right?
sit and think and
Yes.
take his prose in and like really like understand like where he's going and it's they're both very different journeys but I can also like really appreciate what they both do within the scope of horror.
Yes. Yes. I think one that I've brought up a few times is V. Schwab's
Very much.
yeah,
Bones
Bury
in
Your
the
Bones
Midnight
in
Soil.
Midnight Soil. Probably a masterpiece of a book. I mean, the language and everything. I don't ever want to read it again because it
Yeah.
was so
Or even like
suffocating.
think about it.
Because she does vampires in a way of the reality of being undead is so miserable
Yeah.
and
Being
what
alive
happens
for so
as
long.
yes, and it was like pure claustrophobia for me
Yeah.
over and over and over. And so that has nothing to do with I mean, what I'm saying is like she was masterful. I mean, she created and did what she was supposed to do. I just don't ever want to read it again sort of thing. And it's not a book that I'm going to be like, damn, let me put this on my shelf. However, it's perfection. I mean, there's no notes. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, do you get what I mean? Where you ever have a book like that? Like, can you relate? Is there a book that comes to mind that's like that for you?
Well, I'm not a big I say not a big I don't reread books. Like I
Oh,
don't
I never
usually
do either. I should.
like
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I feel like a jackass sometimes when I say that, but I'm like, there's too many other books for me to try the first time.
But just a
there's
book that
so
like
many other books out there in the world. Yeah.
yeah.
And no go ahead, Adam.
I'm just saying theoretically, if you're
But a
like,
book that like does what it's supposed to do brilliantly, works perfectly for what it is, and you're like, no, I will never recommend this to anyone, kind of thing at
or
the
like
same
it
time.
deserves the stars, but it doesn't. You're not like, man, I'm glad I read that.
Yeah.
Like, because in a way, you're like, man, that was a lot, but like in the best possible way. I don't know
Yeah.
how else
Have
to
you
explain
read
that.
this is Dead Inside? By I think his name is Chad
Chandler,
Morrison.
what's it? Yeah. Morrison, is that?
Chandler or Chad Morrison?
Yeah.
It's a novella. It is really, really gross.
Mhm.
However, it was also like, I don't know, sad, heartwarming in a weird way about lonely people and weird fetishes and things like that. But like I do not recommend it. I would never gift that to a friend. I wouldn't be like, oh, you should read that. I would have to like really, really know you to be like, okay, maybe you should read that. You should
Oh,
read that.
really?
Like so much
You
so that like
like
it's
this
still on
kind of
my shelf
fetish?
because I don't
Do
want
I
to
have a book for you?
I don't want to
Right?
release it into the world, so it's gonna stay on my shelf, and maybe I could reread that because it's so short. But it is a nuts, crazy book that I think did gore and really like awful, weird, uncomfortable things in a way that still felt. I don't want to say the word. I don't want to say tasteful, but a little
Right.
tasteful, I guess. Like, yeah,
Right.
it was wild.
Right. What about you?
I mean, I'm fucked up, so I probably would recommend these books. But anything by Eric LaRocca, I would probably say, like,
I know Dre likes.
yeah, this was
I do.
painful. I hated every minute of it. And when's the next book coming out?
Yes,
Yeah.
So, and we
Like
spoke.
I will definitely read V.E. Schwab again for it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like it was.
Well,
such
it's
a-
funny, meeting Eric, and they're
my God,
the
so-
kindest, nicest.
that's what I've
individual
heard.
in
I've heard they're
history.
really
They are so
sweet.
nice.
Very appreciative of like all the love that they get for everybody, but like and is very writes a lot, right? Like they have Wretch coming out
Yeah.
later on in the year, and I guess hopefully we'll get a second Burnt Sparrow sooner than we think.
Yeah, and
But yeah,
what
so
Wretch comes out in the spring, right? Yeah,
yeah.
which I have, but have not read yet, so I need to
Oh,
get on that.
lucky!
So,
I haven't gotten to the
yeah,
point where I'm getting like the big arcs or like Seeking the Matter, but I'm hoping to be able to locate those.
you're
But it's harder for me
soon.
to like find time to also like go to events as much as I'd like
Oh,
to.
Yeah,
yeah, it is. It's like we went to, I mean, a lot of times I'm just like, I think about even when I'm at book events, I'm like, I could be at home reading, despite how great of a time I'm having. It's like, I'm just like, okay, can I read now? Because I feel like it's such a happy space, the
yeah.
cocoon, the nervous system
Yeah.
regulation,
That's
like
what
all
I've
that.
heard. Horror Reader Weekend. We're going to that.
Woot
And I've
woot.
heard that that's what
In the
that
Hudson
feel
Valley?
is. Yeah.
Upstate? Nice.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just swing by and we'll
Sure, yeah.
like see you for lunch on Sunday,
Yep.
okay?
Exactly. So.
Before in Manhattan. So I wanted to say you were saying we were talking about how you live in Manhattan and that you had just had the opportunity to go to Twisted Spine and we were saying like unfortunately they had
Flood damage.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're having like some, fundraising to help, but
Mm-hmm.
you got to go in a little bit before all that happened. So did
I
you get
did.
a coffee or alcohol and did you get one of little mummy cookies? Like what did you experience?
Okay. So I went there. It's only an hour. It's an hour from me because I live in Manhattan and like pretty close to the top there. So it's about an hour ride. And I got there and I sort of like took a moment outside because I was so excited to go in. And like the vibes are so cool. All like, very like dim lighting, very gothic feel. Not like scary, but just very, very chill.
Like a
I
really great library that you
That's what
want to
they
be
said. They
in.
wanted to be like Bell's Library and be,
yes.
it's like very, yeah, that feel.
It has that feel. They have so many books. They have a lot of seating, outdoor and indoor. They've got a cute little like fireplace inside. They have a bar sort of situated at the center of the space. So I got myself situated at the bar. I got two of the little zombie
You're
little
delicious.
things. They were yummy. They were very good. And I also got like an iced cider. So I didn't get
Oh,
any booze, but I got a little iced cider. But they have cute little like
Mm,
tall mugs that they come in, whether they're hot or ice. Like, I've thought of everything.
I
So I was like,
know.
sat at the bar and I read for a little bit. Um, and then I walked around and did some browsing and I did some
You
shopping.
you said you got 2 books. What did you
I
pick up?
did. I got Crafting for Sinners and I
love that
got
book.
which I've heard some great things about. And it just looks like a book I'm really, really gonna enjoy. So I hope I
So
do.
Mm,
good.
And A Game in Yellow.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
the paper.
Mhm.
I've seen that book a lot around, and a lot of people that I was also sort of vibe with have said that it's really
Mhm.
great. And there was
Yeah.
only one copy there, so I was like, well, it's for me.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
I love the way
I
that
love her.
store is laid out,
Yeah.
and just that they have like indies and it's like all the subgenres in there. It's just like, oh hell yeah. And there's books like that. I mean, they do an awesome job of planning what they're gonna have out there. Like it's
Mhm.
not,
Yes.
it's if you've ever been disappointed at a Barnes and Noble, you'll not be disappointed at Twisted Spine
Not
because
if
they
you're looking
have
for
every
horror. Yeah.
yes.
No,
They have
it's
everything you could possibly want. They have things for
mhm.
kids as well. Like it's a full
Yes.
range of gifts and different books. It's
I
really
know. Love
it was
that
awesome.
little like baby sections, like start 'em young. Yeah, so cute.
Learning.
So what do you feel like, when you're making these videos, like what do you think you want to do like with your platform? Do you have any kind of like intrinsic like goal or mission? Is it just for fun right now? Like what do you plan to do with it?
Well, I had told myself that it would, like in the beginning, like just to make it fun because it took me even a while. I think I'd say like I probably wanted to do this for like 2 years before I finally like just made it and just started doing it. Because like it's all that stuff of like, oh, no one's gonna care, no one's gonna like connect
Uh-huh.
to this, like blah blah blah, all the little voices in your brain that tell you to not do anything fun. I try to like remind myself that like it is fun and it's a really big part of my hobby. Like reading is just my favorite thing to do when I'm with myself. So I'm really enjoying talking and sharing and meeting new people. Like I was not expecting the horror book community to be like so open and kind and smart and empathetic and
Right.
really just and all the contemporary writers that are happening right now. It's just like, oh, this is exactly like what my mind and heart needs.
Yeah.
So I think it's becoming a little, I would like to just keep pursuing it and see what happens, not to get like
Yeah.
about it, but like whatever sort of comes of it will be great. But I think I'm sort of treating it almost as like a diary, for myself.
I love that because it's not about the amount of views. It's not about the whatever. It's like expression and the documentation of your own journey and your own self of like, I'm staying true to something I love. I'm
Yeah.
experiencing this. I'm remembering how I felt about this. And I know I'm going to look back on it like fondly, that I remembered these things. And at the same time, you are really spreading joy to people and, helping in that community too. I just feel like I'm so glad you're doing it. And I know a lot of people are like, can I come on camera? I'm scared to talk about this. Is anyone
Sure.
going to care? And I mean, I think that's such a valid point. And a lot of I don't know, there's a lot of times in life I wanted to do things and I just dragged my feet, but I never felt like that with this podcast. It was like I had this energy that like overtook me and I had to convince Adam. It was like three separate times. I'm like, we need to do like,
You need to do this.
I just want to sit and talk books with you. And
Mhm.
it kind of turned into something a little different organically than what we had said. Cause we were originally thinking we were going to do, sorry, a big dog passing through.
Oh,
We thought,
sweet.
we originally thought we were going to have it that we would have like one person on in the week.
Uh-huh.
And then we would do 1 week with just he and I just sitting and really getting into like the meat of a book and going back forth. And I think this, and like almost like you're having a book group and whatever. And then we just had so many authors that we just were like, we want to showcase them and make sure that we were getting, old, young, new, been in the game forever, and really the
And they just kept
minority.
saying yes.
They did keep saying yeah,
I
right.
have to
So,
say
and we were
something.
like, we
Yes.
want to really promote the indie, and minorities, whether you're women, trans, race, whatever. It was just like, who's getting passed over that shouldn't be?
Right.
And that's been empowering. And so I really was talking with one of our other recordings the other day, and I was like, can I give you some advice? Can I recommend that you just start believing in yourself? Like you should do this and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, girl, you need to listen to your own damn advice. Why are you not
Right.
doing that? Why are you not doing this? Right. So coincidentally, last night I'm listening to TikTok and this guy comes on and I have ADHD and this guy comes on and he's like, do you ever like not do the things that you're supposed to do because like you have ADHD or you see things as like, I have to, and I have to do things for whether like other people, presentation, whatever. And he was like, for instance, like, do you only ever clean your house when someone's coming? Do you only ever take a shower, put on makeup or, whatever, because you need to be presentable? He's like, because if you're doing that, then like your body is still in dysregulation. Like you yourself are in dysregulation. It's like you need to look at um, this as when you clean your house, when you get in the shower regularly, when you make your bed, whatever it is, you need to look at it not as a form of presentation, but a form of self-regulation. And I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Like I can just put a bra on today because I want to wear one, like
You
not
sure
because I'm
can.
expected to. Because like a lot of times I'm all the like, don't tell me what to do. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to come on camera today. Like I don't want to, have to put this on or have to do that. But at the same time, I'm like, I love doing makeup and I love putting things on. I love styling an outfit. So it's all like about how my mindset's feeling. And when
Yeah.
I realized like, okay, I'm not doing these videos. I swear I was getting to a point. I'm not doing these videos because I literally don't feel like doing my hair today. And I don't feel like putting on makeup. And I don't feel like trying to, think through this among the other, is anyone going to care? Is, all that other
Right.
stuff. And I'm like, but the biggest holdup for me is the pushing past I should or I have to. And
Right.
now when I realize, no, this is for me. This is an investment in me. This helps to calm my nervous system. The creativity gives it back to me. So that's why today I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to batch record some of these videos. I'm going to have so much fun. And I was like giddy. I almost lost it because I thought I lost my draft. And I was like, that was perfect. I fucked it up. Right. But I was like, I'm going to learn today how to do it. I'm going to learn how to tag the little things. And I was like, I'm just going for it because I deserve it. I
Yeah.
deserve to just express myself and have fun with it. And if it blesses other people and it makes them feel good, great. And so I feel like I'm excited to hear that you're just like, I'm just going for it. I'm doing it. Like I'm going to keep going because who cares? And it feels like I'm commending your authenticity to yourself.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And then there's room for everybody on this big wide internet.
Always,
Like there's room for
always,
everyone out here. Like there's
always.
communities are always growing. So like there's always going to be a need for like whatever your perspective and your unique voice is to contribute to the conversation. Like it's always going to be necessary.
Look, I don't care what pizza shop I stop at. I'm always gonna want to try a slice there. Like I have always been, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
always been a little different. There's something. It's like if you're like, oh, do you want to try this bakery for a cookie, a chocolate? Like, yeah, I do. I mean,
Yep.
it's always going to have a little bit of variations to it, right?
Yeah.
So it's not. I'm not bored of it. Adam's never seen a hot dog he didn't want to try.
You and me have that very much in common.
I'm serious.
That's very true. It's like, wait, what kind of bun is it? Like,
Yeah. I know.
Pretzel?
No, it's like it's always a yes, and I think that's what it is. It's like if someone wants to talk about book content, yeah, I want to hear it.
yeah,
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop scrolling. Do you think I'm gonna be like, let me swipe to the side here a minute and see how many people you have? I don't know if your voice is worthy. It's like, no, right? It's like if you're
I just
being
want to know
yourself, if you're
people's
genuinely
thoughts.
enjoying
Yeah.
yourself, I think it comes through.
Yeah. And I love, especially if I see someone talking about a book that I've also read, and if they did like it and I didn't like it, like if their opinion is opposite of mine,
Yeah,
I want to know why. Like I want to know like what
I
about
do
it
too.
drew them
Yes.
to it, like what was it? Because if I missed the boat, I want to know why you got on.
I love people that are willing to do that for me. And one of the books that I, can think of where I was just like, okay, I love this author and I love all their books, like which is the new book that Alex Harrow, The Everlasting. Like
Oh yes.
I love all of her books. And that was one of my 3-star reads. And I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, I just felt like I think she wrote in second person and it was a time loop again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I hate this. I
Yeah.
just couldn't even enjoy it. And everyone else that I read reviews, because I go in and they're like, this is the most beautiful story. And I was like, fuck me.
Did
I
you
wouldn't
read
feel this way.
did you read Angel Down?
No, that's what Adam said it was like. And he's like, you're going to, that's how
all
he
these
felt about
people
that.
were, this is a masterpiece, and I was like,
I saw
I
you
did
didn't like
not
that one, Jay,
agree.
and I was
I did
like,
a yes, no, maybe, and said no. This was, and I even I posted a review as well in my stories. In my highlights, I keep my full story reviews.
mhm.
And I just was like, I gave this a shot because so many people were talking about it. The concept sounded really interesting, but a lot of that had to do with the way that the story was being told was just really hard for me to follow. I don't have a lot of frame of reference with war. So anything that's set in like historically, like with war things, wartime, war jargon, like a lot of that just misses me. But yeah, that was sort of an experience where I was like, no, I'm really pushing through this and I'm not scared and I'm confused and it's just this isn't hitting for me. But then I have read other people's reviews of it that just really connect to that type of storytelling. Maybe just a lot more people have more knowledge of history than I do, maybe. It just and they felt like it was just like fully serviceable of the story. Like they just,
Yeah.
they just got all of it. But for me it didn't land the
Yeah.
same way.
I'm going to equate that to how I feel about eating raw carrots. I'm never going to do it. I think they're dirty. I dislike them. Now, you'll see people just sitting there snacking on them like they're the best thing ever. And I'm like, I wish, but
I
I'm not
pretend
going to.
sometimes I like them, but I don't really either. But like sometimes I'm like, I guess I'll have it, but I don't love
No,
it.
I'm like, I could stick them in a soup when they're cooked, like fine, but I'm not, gonna, and it's not palatable to me. I'm never going to like it, and that's okay. But I'm so glad so many other people do,
Yes.
and that's where I kind of feel like the book space is here.
yeah, I think so. I think that there's something for everyone, and just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's not for someone else. And
Yeah.
I think that's why I really enjoyed, especially like even in your recap this month, that everyone's like, oh, it's 4 stars, it's 5 stars, but it's like your rating system even isn't whether or not this book was good, it was whether or not it was scary. And I
Yes.
think that
That's awesome.
like I love that it's not putting that sort of almost arbitrary.
Yeah, because
sort of
what is
value
your
on it.
rating system?
Yeah,
I
It's
have
going to be
I
different
used
than
to
mine.
Yeah, I use this I call it the scarometer, and it basically is just like that. Like, did this book evoke fear in me? Were there moments that were truly effectively scary, whether that's like a jump scare or something that was so disturbing that it moved into that sort of space? Like, did that come across at all in any way? And if it did, like, where does that sort of land? So that can be different than like the experience or that can be different than what, like I said, whether the book is quote unquote good or bad. Really just like, did this story have an effect on me in a way that makes me consider why something is scary or not? Because that's essentially why I started the page as well. Like I wanted to really dive into things that are scary and make them less scary by addressing them head on through books.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second here. We got to come on, go to your box, please.
let's go.
You keep shaking your ear and walking around and
Is it one puppy?
no, we have 5 dogs.
Oh
And
wow. A
that
whole
one that was walking
family.
around slapping their head is a mastiff. She's damn near 200 pounds. And she's the most docile, wonderful thing. But she's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, someone's going to think it's me panting. and it's not. And then they're not my long toenails. I get regular pedicures.
Right.
It's time for the groomer to come. But no, so like what levels of your scaring, like, how did you rate it on your scarometer? Like, is it like I can't go to sleep? Because I haven't watched the video yet. So tell me about it. And
Sure. So like if like a 4 and up is like, okay, this was scary. Like this scared me. 4 and 5 is gonna be like, this did a really effective job. This was haunting, or this was suspenseful. This kept me coming back in a way, but it was also like kept me up at night. It's that sort of vibe. And then like once we get to like less than that, I usually say it's like, okay, there were moments that were scary, but on the whole thematically, this wasn't a horrific, like the piece wasn't it didn't fully have a like I don't know how to exactly say this, like scare, but also like a full like rounded sort of sort of scare. And then of course anything like less than that is like, this just was not scary. Like, and that could be something like, a book that is classified as like horror but maybe doesn't feel that way. Like A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay, I gave it 3.5 because yes, it's a horror book, and I know other people there were moments that were scary for them, but like I did not feel that the vehicle of possession and home hauntings was effectively used to tell that story that they wanted to tell.
And I think that, what I loved about that rating, and for that book, Head Full of Ghosts, which is a book I really like, but not a book you want to pick up if you're looking to get scared. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the point of that book, right? And I think that I love a review like that. That's like, if someone's looking for this book, you look at the reviews, you look at the things that are said, it's like it's almost like false advertising. Like, that's not what this book is. And like listening to you say that, it's like, okay, now I'm going to go into this book with the accurate thing. And it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to read it in October when I want to read all my scary books. Maybe I'll read in a different time when I want to read about a fucked up family, because that's what the book's about, right?
Right.
So like I think that really, that's why we have people in this space, right? That they read it and they kind of like, they're almost that like middleman and translator of like,
that's important.
This is what I
That's
get
super
from that
important.
book. And maybe if you are closer to like the content, maybe if something in your past happened to you like this, maybe you would find it scary. But I think that like overall, the intention there is basically, Tremblay, what he's doing with it is saying that like there is no demons, right? There is no possession. There's only bad people almost in a way, right? So
I feel like it's more of like a psychological. I love that you brought up the fact that something might not be scary. And I think that was such a misunderstanding, or else maybe, I don't know, I want to say maybe even just misnomer of what a horror book is, or, a misconception of what a horror book is, because I thought everything had to be scary. And that was genuinely how our podcast was going to start, is because I was like, what the fuck do you mean a horror book isn't scary? Because if you watch a horror movie, that shit's going to be scary. But a horror book doesn't have to be scary, like at all.
Yeah. Or it can
Like, at
honestly
all.
like
I mean,
scare.
honestly, it can be something where I'm like, like you say, like grief horror, or, what, like I don't have to be afraid. It can be horrific. When I read things about the prison system and whatever, and Adam's like, you've been reading horror all your life. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, that's a horror book. And I'm like, no fucking way. And that's really what it is. The two of those have been intersected. And so, like, to use that example of A Head Full of Ghosts, it's like, if I'm going into that, I'm reading ghosts and a head full of, I'm thinking I'm going to be scared.
And
like,
it's billed as a demonic possession story,
I'm
right?
thinking
like,
that I'm going to be. And it's,
this
and
is
then,
like a Conjuring or an Amityville. And it's like, that's not just not what it is, but it's not what it wants to be. But I feel like that's a really helpful, might seem like a critical review, but I think it's more just like, this is what my experience with this book was. And that's what I think, like,
but I can still enjoy the hell out of it.
At its like core,
right?
Like that's the point in this, right?
Well, like for instance, like I loved Chuck Tingle's Lucky Day.
I did too.
I didn't think that I didn't really think it was like, there's some really, really fun kills, but I would not say that it was a horror book, a scary book. It's a horror book, but it wasn't a scary book.
Right.
And I kind of think of like, could I pass this to my mother? Would this keep her awake at night? And if it wouldn't, and I'm like, this is just freaking a masterpiece. And I'm looking like right here. There's so many other books where it's like C.J. Leeds' American Rapture, one of my favorite horror books ever.
My goodness,
Ever.
I read it last month. I absolutely loved it.
Hey,
And see,
Yeah.
I
I
thought
want to
that
hear
was
your. I got to hear about it. I got to hear
I
about it
thought
now
it
that we've
was
gotten on it. I got to hear about it. Go
my
on.
September episode. I thought it was very, very scary. I thought it was
All too
really well
real.
done. I thought like her character work
Ugh,
was fantastic. Really just sort of like bridging the line of like what's safe and not safe. And I just felt like I was so tense the entire
yeah,
time for that main
yeah,
character. And I love a post-apocalyptic
yeah.
situation. And I just felt it was like a 10 out of 10. And it was yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
Like, and I loved it because I grew up in like more of that evangelical and it really like tapped into that fear. And I was like, actually, that was more like a therapy ride for me on that aspect. But
Yeah,
then you think of like when resources are tight and the behaviors of people that come out and just how like all of a sudden this person has turned
yeah,
like I mean there was just like there really was no safe place. And I
yeah.
think like there was a lot of fear in that and just like but she just did it masterfully.
I think what scared me the most about that book was it sort of like talks about how scary religion can be when it doesn't prepare you for life. Like when it doesn't
Mm,
give you the tools and it locks things away from you and keeps things secret or teaches you to be shameful about things that are actually very powerful to you. And I find that like that's an interesting thing that people when it comes to religious horrors, like the thing that like most people are actually probably really scared of their faith more so than they think that they're like in love with it. Like there's like what is the balance between like being terrified of something and really loving it and when it
yeah.
comes to faith and religion and like what the ideas of where you go when this life is over. And I think that she
That's
hit
so
that.
fucking profound.
Yeah, she nailed
Like,
that.
Mhm.
I think you're so right. I think you're spot on. It's really funny because I went yesterday to the bookshop and I think it's the bottom book over there. Okay. Anyway, it was like the history of witches and not witches or tarot and witchcraft and all that. Here it is. Sorry. Toil and Trouble, a women's history with the occult.
Work. That's a great
And I
title.
was
That's
like,
pretty too.
yeah, it is. And it's like all nonfiction and really like from Salem to Witch Talk and how all this goes in. And I was like, in Elvira. And I was like, okay, I really want to read about this. And then I saw another one here and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to finally explore
Your tarot.
going to hell and the devil and with my Christian. So it's Guided Tarot, a beginner's guide to cards, meaning spreads, and intuitive exercises for seamless readings. And this was always something that was like, do not listen to intuition. Do not, I mean, it was even to the point that I had some of my friends telling me, do not use yoga. Like, do not use yoga because the
Yeah,
devil reaches
right?
you
Like
through yoga.
what?
Because you're in such an open, relaxed space that you can be affected. And I'm like,
Satan loves a limber body. I've
Yeah,
heard that
was true.
before.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to say Satan loves a dysregulated nervous
I was
system
gonna
True.
say,
because really that's
if a
what
limber
yoga's doing.
body, I'm
I'm going to
unfortunately
attack
going
it.
to heavens. I don't want to go with those people.
My God. But yeah, I'm going to explore it. And I'm like, I think I'm trying to get past like, is this okay? I still have so much here. And it's like, it took a lot for me to spend the $18 to get it, but I was like, damn it, I'm going to regret it if I don't continue to provide growth.
It
And
was 30% off though. So,
no, stop.
Nice. That does
I would
help.
have bought it at the full thing. But there's a lot of these books here that I thought like, oh my God, I'm being wicked by reading a horror book. And then I realized, oh, no, you just missed out on people talking about real shit and the ways that it's used as an allegory for society in so many ways and so much dysfunction. And it's like that would have helped me cope so much if I had
Yeah.
started earlier,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's like a taught fear. Like someone taught you to be
Right.
scared of that versus like feeling like, something happening like in an accident, like something happens on a roller coaster when you're a kid and you're like, now I don't like
Mm-hmm.
roller coasters versus
Mm-hmm.
someone telling you this is something that you should be afraid of. This is something that is scary. And then
Mm-hmm.
you believe it, it ends up being something that you naturally just put on that little list of this is scary. I should be afraid of this. So even while you're trying to process and like when it comes up, it's like, well, I'm grown and I can buy any book I want. Why is this book making me feel weird? Oh, it's because I'm scared of it. But why am I scared of it? Oh, because I was taught to be scared of this.
There's my therapy session right there. That's so perfect. It's like
mhm.
digging into, I've heard that you should go into like 5 levels of why. Why this and why,
Mhm.
like, why do I want to read this book? Because I'm scared of it. Why am I scared of it? It's like, because I've been told not to be afraid of it. Well, why are you told that? It's like, well, it was a form of control. Okay, so if I'm not, being controlled anymore, then why wouldn't I read it? Well, I can. and it's
Yeah.
like maybe you don't need to go through all 5 levels of that, but I think most things they say you can get to the bottom of really any fear if you go like 5 levels deep.
Mm.
And so, I mean, yeah, the biggest thing is no one really knows what happens after you die. And if your brain has been told from a young age that, you're going to land in a burning pit of fire, not the Johnny
That's what
Cash
you're gonna
one.
believe, yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so,
But I also think, like, we've said it before, there's a reason that books and things like this are the first things that people looking for power and control try to take away from people, right?
Yeah.
And so if someone doesn't want you to have access to something, something in it's pretty fucking powerful that they don't want you to know,
Exactly.
right?
yeah, I agree.
So yeah, and we've talked about it also many times that horror is the one genre that the purpose is not necessary, especially in literature. The purpose is not always necessarily to scare you or horrify, but it is the most truthful
Yes.
genre of all of
It
them.
looks at all ugly things.
It's looking for the truth is often ugly, so it does
Mhm.
often reflect ugly things, but it really is about figuring out like what is actually behind so many different things. And that's why horror is such a huge, the number of subgenres, in the way that it ties with so many other ones is because it is almost like, okay, I'm going to take that lens of what is the base truth of these things, whether it's romance, sci-fi, fantasy, family drama, or anything,
Right.
and look at it in a way that doesn't flinch and, doesn't have those sort of rose colored glasses on and just reflects the reality of whatever it is. And oftentimes that's not so pleasant to look at, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been thinking for a long time. We've done a lot of these conversations of why is this book not labeled as horror? And I'm not going to talk about it like that. I'm not talking about it in that lens. But I'm looking right here on the shelf at like Hail Mary, and I'm like, okay, that's really scary.
Mhm.
I mean, you're stuck out in
About the
outer
end of the
space, and,
world,
you're
essentially. Yeah.
trying to save the whole world. Why is that any different than Jonathan Jan's Veil? Why is his a horror? What I'm realizing is, I think even within maybe publication, still it doesn't, Hail Mary doesn't get into the ugliness of it. It touches on it.
Right.
Doesn't really get into the horrific ugliness of it.
Mhm.
And so it's still this tight, fun little package of like,
Mhm.
eventually we're going to make you laugh. We're going to make you feel good. We're going to figure out, even like Taylor Jenkins Reid Atmosphere, like great, great book, but could easily be labeled as horror, but it isn't. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of this is still, we're so told what is and isn't through consumerism and even capitalism of, because no,
Right.
I'm not taking it at that angle right now. I'm saying the uglier and the more powerful it is, we're going to label it horror because we feel like less people are going to read it. It's like,
Sure.
it's the most ostracized genre. It's the
Mhm.
most misunderstood. You can hide it and bury it in here and no one's going to look for it. And it's like, but this message says what we want it to say. And that's not to say they're not fucking fantastic books. They are.
Right.
It's just that I would have never stepped into a horror aisle ever, even though many of these books, and I really intend on doing a full like video about this of, okay, I really think these books should have been, could be out in lit fic. And these books
Yeah.
were so fucking scary. And I keep going this side because Adam's like all the horror books on this side, all
Over
of
there.
my, and we have a blend of some, but there's so many. I'm like, this is so scary. I mean, it's like I could do a book a day talking about why it should be in the horror section. If you're a horror reader, please don't pass this over. And I just continue to get pissed that if someone's like, no, I only read horror and they're never going into lit fic, like they're missing some of the most horrific books.
Yeah.
Like, is that my
I do-
mission in life, is to just get people to like,
I will say that, like,
support these authors that are out here doing the good work. And it's like the label just gets me pissed that it gets passed over. Because think about it. Think about if you saw 2 sweaters that look damn near identical and you took the label off and you're like, actually, the one that's not designer is nicer. But because it's labeled in a certain way, you have a certain thought and affinity. I was even saying that to you the other day because you put the sweater on a mannequin and you put a beautiful light over top and all of a sudden it has value. Let me pay $50 for this. But then you get home and you drop it on the floor and it's like, well, who cares? I already wore that now. It's like, it's
It's fabric.
valueless, but it isn't, And I guess that's what I'm trying to express here is like the horror community is like the sweater that's been dropped on the floor versus the lit fic and whatever. It's like, look at these under these pretty lights and
Sure.
look at how you could wear this. And that sucks because both of them deserve to be highlighted by the works that are being done.
I agree. And I think there's a lot of people that will miss out on things because of that. Like, for instance, when I read A Head Full of Ghosts, I read it with a book club of the
Okay.
group that I was working with. And I would say the majority of people really liked it because they were able to connect with the family dysfunction and the things of mental illness and all those types of stuff. So they were expecting to be more scared, but really appreciated that it was tackling other things and using horror tropes to talk about something that they weren't expecting to connect to. So in that effect, they really enjoyed it. But it was like, yeah, like if I hadn't said like, oh, I like to read horror books and we should do a spooky thing, and there were different sort of versions of what that means. Now they sort of feel like they have a way in that they're like, oh, I actually can books that I can consume and ones that I can't, or that I've got a limit of what feels good and what doesn't for me.
Mhm.
But to know that there are books out there that can help them process. Like, that's my big thing too, like,
Absolutely.
horror is just, like, has the capacity to really be a very healing genre
Oh my
because
gosh.
the world is so scary, because the things that we're going through right now are so presently scary, and we've all got different versions of scary things that have happened to us.
Yeah.
But and I feel like it just is really helpful for me to read through these books and to sort of when something strikes a chord with me, to really, like, sit with that and figure out,
Yeah.
like, what why
Yeah.
is that, you know?
Yeah. Let's do a quick round robin here as we get towards the end of the episode of
Yeah.
saying, like, okay, what is a book that you would recommend, whether it's horror or not, that you feel like really explores mental illness really well and or, mental illness within a family dynamic?
Oh
Besides a
gosh.
head full of ghosts.
Yes, besides a head full of
So,
ghosts.
yeah, I would
Thinking of
say,
them.
well,
Well,
that's
I just want to
more
think about it. I have one because obviously I
you
asked
do,
before
yeah,
I
you
think
go
about
first.
it. Model Home by
Oh,
Rivers.
loved Model Home. Loved it.
I thought it was just one of the most brilliant things taken on. I mean, the exploration through trans life,
Yeah.
which was amazing. Like really watching a supportive family and what that looks like. Mother that was like raising black children and black excellence within like a heavily white neighborhood and what
Yeah.
that felt like. Like I never
Mhm.
lived that life, but holy fuck, and
Yeah.
creating that and the mental illness of, just the fighting within like the sisters and, it just, man, I mean, I walked away from that feeling like I learned so many things and the twist,
Oh,
I did not see that shit coming.
I
And I feel
gasped.
like after reading a lot of books, I did not see that shit coming.
I gasped. I'm actually really bad. I never guessed the twist. Like, I'm really, really bad at, like, predicting how things are gonna go. So, like,
Uh-huh.
anything that happens, if it's a really good twist, they'll gag me for
I
sure.
really didn't see that one. Like I
Okay, I got
dropped. So I feel like that's one that, and also I just will never stop thinking about the writing assignment that the child is required to do and the method with which they did the
Oh,
writing assignment. I cackled and hollered. I mean,
yeah.
it's disgustingly wonderful. But that's mine. It is sad. It is somber. It is fucking deep. It is grief. It
Oh.
is all these things that you'll laugh and you will be like, wow, I understand so much. And like that to me is a 5 star. It's a fucking
It's also
6 star,
beautifully
5.
written. I find,
It
like, the
is.
prose of it or
Oh my
it's
god.
told very
Agreed,
beautifully.
agreed. Okay, who's next?
Gosh,
She
let's
said
see.
you
I'm
had to
I'm going
go.
through my list now that I'm trying to, like, pull
Okay, so
from.
mine would be "Listen to Your Sister" by Nina Veal,
Okay.
and it's one of my favorite debuts of this year so far,
Mhm.
and just one of my overall favorite books. And it takes place in Seattle, and it's about an older sister that has to adopt her younger brother. There's also a middle brother in there that kind of doesn't want to have anything to do with anything. And it's a black family. It's sort of in the middle of some of the protests that are going on about like police violence. And something really bad happens during a protest, and they have to hide out in this cabin. And then there's this sort of disintegration of reality that is potentially mental illness on the part of
Uh-huh.
one of them. You might not know who it is. There's like a fracturing of psyche, and it's also funny as hell somehow because these siblings, like, she nails it. And Nina really did adopt her younger brother. So
Oh, yeah.
there's a basis of reality to this. And like, I think it's just one of my it's so good in the way that it explores like these siblings having to take care of themselves, being on their own.
Wow.
She's barely old enough to have a child, let alone like a 17-year-old that she's having to take care of. And it's brilliant in the way that it explores that. She also has a book coming out next year that's a horror twist on the original welfare queen that Reagan
I cannot wait.
talked
Oh
about,
Cannot wait.
wow.
and turned it into a horror story, which I
Yeah.
cannot wait for. And I got to meet Nina at StokerCon, and she is an absolute fucking delight. And like, I want more people to read this book, so I'll
Nice.
definitely listen to your sister.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
awesome.
I
You
did
sold
read Listen
me.
to Your
Yeah.
Sister. I read it one day. I enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.
It was one of those books that I was reading and I was like, I think I like this, but I'm also not putting it down. I actually read it in like 2 days. I read it very quickly
Yeah.
because I did really enjoy sort of the, I don't know what the word is for the not speculative fiction, like when it gets a
Mm.
little bit more magical
Yeah, it's like
realism sort of
magical
thing.
realism, sort of like just weird fiction in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was a very effective sort of like race against time almost. Like I thought the
Mhm.
characters were really funny. Those sort of like in and out of the worlds.
Mhm.
I thought was really, really interesting. I did. I liked
Yeah.
it. I liked it. I didn't think it
Okay,
was as
awesome.
scary as I wanted it to be, but I did. I did.
Right.
Yeah, again, another one that's kind of doing different things,
Yeah.
and I think that's one also when you look at maybe like the blurbs and stuff, the way that they describe it, um, definitely draws you in and makes you want to read it, but might not be the most accurate as to what the actual book is itself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I mean, that was the concept, really. I mean, because you think model home, you're dealing with, and it's way different than that. And the same thing. So, what is your pick, Dre?
I think mine's gonna be Root Rot. Have you heard of this yet?
Oh God.
Novella Root Rot.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
Saskia Nislo, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I actually read this with the Queer Horror Book Club in New York City. So we did this earlier this year. I think it was maybe our August book pick, and we actually did like a little talk back. It's basically about a group of kids who go to their grandfather's lake house. It's a group of like 9 cousins. You don't know their names. They're all given different monikers, like
Mhm.
the runaway and all this. So there's 9 of them there. You're not really sure who the actual like narrator is either, but they get there and really weird things start happening with the adults, and the adults start to sort of slip away from being real people. And you get the sense that there's this sort of like family trauma and lineage that they're supposed to sort of invoke. It's very wild and has some awesome, really effective jump scares in there, which I thought were
I
really
feel
fun.
like
But
that book is when people call a book a fever dream, like Root Rot is like the best example of it. Because I remember reading it and just being like, why do I feel like this? Like, why do I can't stop reading it, but I don't know what's happening to me or what's happening in this book. But it's like, that's a creature publishing.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah,
know.
so
It's
it's
all mine. I
really
need
fun.
to read before the end of the year because you and Will both sold me on it, and then
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
Dre's selling me on it.
I
So
really,
it's one of the
really.
weirdest, best books that you'll read this
I
year.
know. Are you from a big family? Do you like a big like bunch of cousins?
I have a big family.
Yeah.
I think we both grew up hanging out with cousins and like having big things and then it just like stopping.
Yeah.
And like that's another thing that it felt like it was nostalgic, even though it was like looking back on something that as it was happening, which
Yeah.
like was this weird feeling to it,
It was fun to talk to other people about the book based on the varying like, so I actually am one of 9 cousins. So
Oh.
for me, like reading the book and having them just like not have
Oh
actual
my
names,
God,
I
the
was like,
correlation.
I could immediately in my mind be like, oh, that's them. And it's like,
I love it.
and
Which
it
one
just
were
like
you?
play on like family dynamics and like how we all sort of like fit into the roles that are either assigned to us or not. Like
Mhm.
it's a very good take on that.
That's
And
cute. What would be your moniker? Would you take one from there, or do you?
yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, there is one called The One with the Beautiful Voice. So I was like, I
Oh,
said that would be
shoot.
me.
You're like, oh, you're writing about me. Gee.
I love it. I love it.
Embarrassing.
I wanted to tell you as we close out here, I think a really cool series that you could do, or I would really enjoy
I'm
watching
open.
it,
Yes. Tell me.
would be for you to say, like, hey, I'm starting this book. Here's my thoughts. Here's my feelings of what I think about it before I read the book.
Mhm.
And then almost do a recap after it, of actually, this is what it was.
Yeah.
I think that could be so
I think that's a
cool.
very good idea. Yeah.
I mean, I could even like see like something of just starting a trend for people to do that because books are not cheap right now. And it
Yes.
is really hard to find the time to read everything. My TBR haunts me. So I'm like,
Truly.
look, and I really get tired of the whole like, it's so good because it's so easy to say that. And I'm
Yes.
just as guilty of saying it too, but being able to genuinely be able to be like, here's what I'm hoping for. This is really what I'm hoping for. And you know what? This isn't what I got. I'm not mad about it, but it's very different than how it was done. I think
Mhm.
could be a really fun series.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a really good idea. I'm
Awesome.
open to all of that.
Okay. Well,
All
maybe
of it.
even sometime like with your, with your group, if you're reading stuff. I mean, that could be a really interesting thing from a book group of here's what,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It just
Here's what we thought, and here's what actually happened.
yeah, going into it. Yeah. So, well, where can we find you and what can we expect moving forward if you want to share that, but where can we find you? Cause I mean, your reviews are hilarious and they're so feel good.
Thank you. I really do enjoy making them. You can find me on Instagram only at Dre Reads Spooky, DREREADS SPOOKY. Woo! I think I did that right.
Awesome. Awesome. And if we're in the New York area, is there anywhere you said something you were doing a Rocky Horror Show
Oh my
production? Like,
goodness, yeah. So I'm an actor in New York City as well. So I actually work at a piano bar in Midtown. So if you're ever in New York City, come to Don't Tell Mama Piano Bar and Cabaret. I will be behind the bar singing and slinging drinks. I'm on 42nd Street between 8th and 9th, right in the theater district. So if you're ever in New York City,
Nice.
hit
I
me
would
up
love to
and
come
I'll
see
take care
you.
of you.
That'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for being on and we'll continue to connect. And I wish you all the best luck in your just being authentic to yourself and growing your platform with just like-minded people that, inspire you and fill you with good things.
Thank you so much. And yeah, here's to the next year of Dre Read Spooky. I'm excited to see what happens. So thank you all
Yes,
so
Absolutely.
much for
excellent.
having me.
Okay. See you. Thank you. All
Thank you. Take care.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.